everyone, welcome back to another video today. Before I say anything, this video is going to contain spoilers from Andor Season 2 Episode 6, so if you are not caught up, do not watch, to be blunt. But anyways, the part of the loadout is part of what we're talking about today. Got a loadout for another Cinta, but also this is more a little bit Season 2-ish, but in at least a sense her hair is a bit shorter, as you see in Episode 6. It's not quite the same, but it's the closest you're going to get. I kept a very similar loadouts before, like the healer and scam pulse. I decided to add a scout pistol since, you know, they do a heist and her and Val with anyone with guns. So I thought that was good. The reason I picked bodyguard is there is going to be a quote for spoiler because she sadly does die. You hear this monologue from Val, and when she was talking to someone about Cinta, she wrote, "She was a warrior, she was everything you've daydreamed about. She was a blooded, fearless warrior whose loss will be mourned in ways you'll never understand. She was a miracle." Hence why I've gone bodyguard, because it literally says warrior in that little description there, so I thought it'd be kind of fitting. Let's spawn in, because it's going to be very cargo heavy most likely. It's based on previous games. And Lily Ronock here, they've already delivered one. Yeah, so sadly Cinta does unfortunately meet her demise, sadly. I have a few opinions about it, I must admit, so we are going to talk a little bit about it today, I must admit, as well. So, first thing I'm going to mention is the way she died I'm actually okay with. It's the lack of screen time that she got was a bit disappointing for me, I must admit.
Capture the cargo. Well done.
Because she only basically showed up in pretty much one scene, or technically two scenes in episode 3 of season 2 of Andor, and that's pretty much what she showed up in. Then obviously this episode 6, but she did have a bit of a character development moment. Sadly it wasn't fully explained or not fully fleshed out. I mean, obviously it's the way they've written it in terms of like every 3 episodes is basically like one period and then like a year later and the next arc. So it did limit what they could do, unfortunately. Which is a bit unfortunate, I must admit, but interesting he's using an arm grenade, you don't see that from him. So it did limit it because there was a year gap, and there's a few things the character Cinta actually touches on, where she basically said that she actually had an injury, and she was basically sidelined. And it sadly wasn't really flushed out, unfortunately. Like, they don't really talk about like what exactly happened, which I would have liked to have known. But it's not necessarily that, it's more she actually has a moral epiphany, I guess is the right word. She actually starts to think about what she actually wants in her life. And she basically wants to be with Val. Which is big for her, because previously she actually kind of pushed her away and kept putting the Rebel Alliance first. So this injury, I guess, that she has kind of put things in perspective for her. Which I must admit is pretty good. And sadly it was very limited on what they could do. It wasn't very... they weren't able to flesh it out fully. So I was kind of hoping they would. But I guess it's... obviously, like, there's an interview from the actress Varada Sethu, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm really trying to perfect that, because she pronounces it a certain way, so I'm really trying to get that right for her. Where she actually says it's basically not the injury that's what's important, it's more actually the moral epiphany she has, I suppose. Oh, that was a nice headshot. And basically, yeah, she wants to be with Val. She realizes, because she's basically an agent for Luthen, and she basically realizes that Luthen doesn't really have her best interests at heart. He basically puts the cause over anything, and basically he'll use whatever means to get what he wants for the rebellion, which is fine. But at the end of the day, that's most people don't really think like that, you know. So it was nice for her to actually have that moment. I just wish it was a bit more fleshed out, but it was unfortunately a little limited because of the runtime. But anyway, that's one little bit of it. I wish they explored that a little more. But what's got everyone talking is like the fact she had an intimate moment with Val and then she dies pretty much that episode. Like, she basically it's another spoiler again, but you know, obviously she dies, but also she had like basically a kiss scene with her. It was a very beautiful, intimate moment. Things that they both needed to say to each other, which was really nice, especially for Cinta. So it was a very nice moment, I must admit. So basically she says that she's not sure who she is, but she knows that she wants to be with Val, is basically the rundown of what she says, and that she should have probably told her like a bit more about like the time she had off, like being away, that kind of thing. But, yeah, it was just it's hard to put into words because you know I've only watched the scene like once or twice, but it was a really beautiful moment. And it's actually not the first like queer kiss we've actually had on the show. I mean, not the show, the actual Star Wars media, but I'm pretty happy that they actually depicted that, like actually had some representation, because there's not a lot of it. Especially with like people of color as well. That's one part of what drew me to Cinta, but obviously her character, I actually really liked how she was written. Because she was the type of character that actually made like her presence known. Like she didn't have to have big screen time to kind of do that. So that's something I kind of noticed. Which was really nice. Sorry, I keep getting focused in at the same time here. I really feel like being a warrior for Cinta right now. But as I said, I'm going to die here, so I jinxed that. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, no, so basically though, it's kind of sad in a way. It's a bit of a tragic because they're actually going to go to Luthen, actually, you know, be a bit more together. So they actually, Cinta actually says that Luthen prefers them apart than together, so they're actually going to change that, which was really lovely that they're going to do that, because, you know, Star Wars is, a lot of things that happen in Star Wars is very tragic. Is someone above me, or did they kill him? Yeah, no, so it's very tragic, like, you know, things happen, you know, just when the characters look like something good's going to happen, some things happen. But basically, look, I actually spoiled myself of Cinta's death before I actually watched the full episode. Oh, that was a nice headshot. Yeah, so basically they had this kiss scene, you know, the heist goes well, and then, you know, she sadly dies, which I'll touch on her actual death in a moment, because I actually didn't have a problem with how she died. It was actually realistic. But in terms of having to kiss and dying, it's very common, because it reminded me of Kanan and Hera. Because basically, look, they had that kiss moment for them, and then you kind of figured Kanan was going to die, and obviously a few episodes later he does. And then obviously they had their second kiss, and then he basically died in that pretty much next scene. Ah, my scout pistol didn't register in time. Yeah, so they tend to do that with Star Wars, which is fine. It was just a shame because, you know, it was really promising for them, but it's tragic. Now, in terms of her actual death, I was actually pretty happy with it. In a sense, it was actually very realistic. It's something that would happen, and it also depicts very well how disorganized the rebellion actually is as a like fighting unit, which is what Andor has been depicting very well. Like, yes, they see fragments, like different rebel cells in the area, like different people fighting for the rebellion for different reasons, you know. Some are extreme, like Saw Gerrera. Obviously, you got the Ghost Crew. Even though they're not in Andor, you know what they kind of fight for. So it's good in that sense to have different differentialities, I think is the right word to use. Yeah, so in terms of death, what basically happens, because I haven't actually mentioned it yet, is she actually gets caught in the crossfire or something. Basically, what happens is her and Val actually specifically say no guns except her and Cinta for the heist. Ah, I didn't get covered enough. And basically some young, very inexperienced rebel carries the gun, and then he basically tries to stop someone from getting in the way, and they end up having a little tiny scuffle, and then his gun goes off and sadly kills Cinta instantly, shoots her in the chest. In a sense of realism, I did like it. It did feel a bit underwhelming when I first looked it up, because I didn't watch the full episode, and I was like, what? Originally I was actually like, what the fuck, why'd she die like this? But when I watched the whole episode fully and actually read a bit more about what people thought about it, I actually started to appreciate it more. Especially with what Varada Sethu actually did. Like what she actually thought about it, which there is an interview about her for it. I will link that in the description for you as well, so you can have a read of it. About a read of it, I think she was pretty content with how it was written. I mean, obviously for the script they get a heads up on it beforehand. Oh, nice shot. Ah, he's changed his loadout. Yeah, so she was fine with it, which, look, I do appreciate the realism, because that is quite common for people to die this way. So that was good. Oh, gee, just got one tapped. But it was really cool for that. I mean, look, sadly it's happened, and it just shows how disorganized the rebellion actually is, which is good, because you don't, like, the rebels, pretty much not until Rogue One, they don't really unite as a rebel cell. So in that sense, they depicted that well. I just really thing I really wanted a bit more of was more screen time for Cinta. Nothing too crazy. I mainly just wanted that year fleshed out, like, a bit more. But obviously it's limited on what they can do because of, you know, how it was all filmed. But one thing that's really got people, unfortunately, like, a bit angry about everything is...
Picked up the cargo. Protect it.
Well, you might be getting through. Oh, you lived. Yeah, obviously, like, people are upset because, you know, she's a woman of color, but also because, yeah, because she was queer, which obviously we haven't seen enough of. This is basically the first proper couple that we actually get fleshed out. The only other time we've really had that for, like, queer is probably, I think, in the Rise of Skywalker at the end. There's actually, basically a couple that actually see a kiss in the background. So you don't see much of it, like, really ever. So it was pretty cool to actually have a proper couple, and it wasn't just there for fan service, which I really appreciated. Like, you know, the relationship had flaws, you know, seemed to put, like, things first, you know. There was always a bit of, like, you could tell they cared for each other, but obviously, like, they didn't always have their same priorities, you know. So in that sense, I really appreciated it. But that's why also Cinta's actually reconciliation with her was really nice. I'm gonna die here, but that's fine. So I really appreciated that. I just really wish that was, like, I just want her story a bit more fleshed out. I mean, look, I don't expect it to have a major, like, thing, but the reason I was a bit disappointed was mainly because, like, pretty much other characters, like, side characters, like, another spoiler, I think his name Brasso, he had some pretty good development despite being a shorter, like a less developed character. Man, scout pistol headshots, they're satisfying as anything. Alright, let's go get this guy. There's Dacho's here. That's a bit unlucky. It's a shame. Sometimes I don't always die with a scout pistol, but that's alright. So look, I just wish there was a bit more screen time for Cinta, you know, like, didn't have to be fully too much fleshed out, but I would have liked a little more screen time for her. But I'm not gonna lie, right now I've really been feeling like a warrior, like how Cinta would be. Like, that's also one thing we didn't see enough of, is a bit more action for her. We didn't see enough of that. Who's shooting me? Try and help. Did he make it? No, I don't think he did. Yeah, look, it didn't have to be fleshed out drastically, just, you know, mainly that moment. Like, you know, when she was away for a time, which, look, I'm not saying that, look, they could always, you know, add on to it, like, you know, actually tell that in another form, like, because I was thinking about that before, you know, like, or even just, like, you know, we don't see, obviously, how Val and Cinta meet, you know, that'd be pretty cool to see. Go on, talk about Fortnite. Yeah, that's a bit disappointing that you didn't really get to see that. I'm sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. But yeah, no, so I thought about that, and I'm like, okay, maybe they can actually have... Oh, fuck. They could actually have, maybe like have like a book or something, because I don't see them doing like a series on the two characters. Even if they have like a book or something to show a bit more about how they met, you know, their early days of the rebellion before the heist, or even something like... Gee, playing your emotes there, buddy. That was actually a good match though. I actually felt like a warrior for Cinta. That was actually good fun. And the scat pistol's not to be slept on. But yeah, no, I was saying, they could probably easily do like a book or something, you know, about how they met, you know, the early days of the rebellion, or even that year gap for Cinta. And maybe have like a book where like you show different parts of her and what she's doing and what Val's doing. I don't know, that'd be interesting. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I just hope her death's not in vain. We can actually have some development for like Val, because I think that was the writer's intention as well. So I hope her death is not in vain. I mean, Val, I'm sure, will honour her, but I just hope it really impacts the story. I mean, I feel like with this Gorman massacre that's going to, obviously they're leading to, I feel like this is like the chain reaction to it, like Cinta's death is going to be the start of it. So it will be interesting, I must admit, so I'm pretty excited to see what happens. But nevertheless, I was pretty grateful for her character. The actress I have a lot of respect for, and she did a really good job as Cinta, I must admit. I do feel it could have gone the other way around, to be honest with you. Like, they could have easily have gone... this is going to be one side, but I'll talk a little bit here. But I feel like they could have easily have done it the other way around, like have Val die instead of Cinta. Because basically what I think, like, if she was, like, you know, she's obviously just knows what she wants, and she only just start to realise that, and things were looking hopeful, but then if Val dies, she's kind of left alone again. But except in a different circumstance, instead of being her pushing Val away, she actually has no choice but to be alone. So that could have been very interesting, and actually explored a bit more of, like, Cinta, and, you know, her reasons for wanting to fight in the rebellion and try and win her freedom, I suppose. I don't know, that could have been very interesting. But, let me know your thoughts. I'll link that interview with Varada Sethu in the description that I found on the internet, and then I'll link the one from a couple years ago from Andor Season 1 as well. So this is going to be a one-sided match, so I'm probably not, I'll still play it, but it's not going to be, I won't make it part of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really had fun with that loadout, and I really like Cinta's character, and I can't wait to see more of Andor. Again, apologies if you haven't seen it. I mean, I did leave a warning at the start, but for now, I hope you all enjoy. I'll catch you next time. That poor dude, I've killed him 3 times in a row with a scout pistol. Poor fella. Taste my green light.
Oh! Oh, get wrecked. Triple emoted. Excuse me. Oh!
Excuse me?
That's related to a mono. Oh.
My police.